Happy Sunday. How you doing? Yeah, well, yesterday I did very little to no talking. I'm sure that made some people on here very happy. You're welcome. I aim to please. Last night I got a text with this link. Java's going on a self-explanation dialogue, explaining things, talking about all his personal problems once again. Some of these things he's talking about with things he's going to do and what he's going through makes absolutely no sense to me. Let's see if it makes sense to you with an Uncle Brian Reacts.
Hello everybody, it's Rich from Rich's Garage. Let's see. The brake drums that I painted. Why do they call it a Craigslist rebuild? Why don't you go on Vice Grip Garage and you'll hear him say it?
I don't watch them.
Why don't you go on Pole Barn Garage and you'll hear him say it?
I don't watch them.
Let's see. Who else? There was somebody else that...
I don't spend my whole day watching people's
why don't you go
videos.
to Dylan McCool's Garage.
I know Sanford does
and
that.
You'll hear him say...
I guess you do that.
Craigslist rebuild.
You love watching mine, don't you?
Now, Dylan McCool is also the one that actually did a patch on a cracked engine block with JB Weld. So if you wanted to know where I got that information from, there it is.
That information from.
And everybody has been telling me you do not use white lithium grease on a car.
Okay.
Well, in my community section, you'll see I posted a picture of Lucas white lithium grease. And there are 3 indicators down at the bottom.
3,
what
count
you
them.
can use it on.
3 like the studs on his
Tell me what
wheels.
the third one is you see down there. Because if I'm not mistaken and my eyes aren't playing games, I see a car.
See a car. Very matter of fact.
The thing is that I have been seeing somebody talk about my 57 Chevy.
Well, a lot of people have. It's not good.
First of all, the rot that you're seeing is down by the runner board.
Hate to tell you, but that frame rails, they had fucking splits in them running down. There were holes in it.
Not the floorboard.
Oh, not the floorboard.
Let's see.
Hate to tell you. I guess a lot of people's eyes were lying to them.
The reason why the car is not running properly is because carburetor.
Oh, carburetor. Okay.
I think that the points may be too far apart.
Oh, you don't know how to set points?
Taking too long for it to fire.
You don't know how to adjust the carburetor?
Number 2, the person that did comment to me about the...
Here come all the excuses.
The part that pushes the gear forward to the flywheel, you are pretty much on target with that. I've still got to take it out, and I still got to, make sure everything's okay inside.
Oh yeah.
So the
you know how to fix a starter.
Brushes, got to make sure that I keep forgetting what the hell these things are called. It's not important, but
oh, it is important you know what they're called.
It pushes the gear forward.
It is important you know what the fuck you're talking about.
So that has to be checked out.
Okay.
And then I have to check out the wires because, I haven't done nothing with that starter, and there could be stuff that the previous owner did to that too.
Oh, blame it on the previous owner.
An indication of, that getting messed up as well.
Not you wearing it out,
So
cranking and
that's
cranking and
something else I have to
cranking.
check on.
Yeah. Everything is everybody else's fault once again.
I'm selling my house, so
Okay, here we go.
Wind up moving into a condo.
Everybody needs to know all his business.
And I think you're only entitled to 2 spaces, so one will be for my car.
He's going to move to a condo so he can turn that into a city dump like he did that place.
And I plan on selling the olds.
Oh.
Selling the old school bus, which is a 2006 Chrysler Town & Country.
Oh.
And my mother's PT Cruiser.
Oh.
Which has 68,000 miles on it.
Oh.
It has 4 flats because...
This is good.
The rims that they used on that car back in the day were aluminum dipped in chrome. And once the chrome started to rot away or flake off, it would affect the bead where the tire would seal up on the rim.
Wow.
and it
You
would
ever
cause
hear
it
of
to
that?
leak, so the tires would go flat.
Okay.
Uh, and I think I'll probably wind up putting a trailer in storage or something like that, or I'll take it to a friend's house.
You have a
In
friend?
any event,
Really?
I have been dealing with a lot of doctor's appointments,
Here
so
we
I
go.
have not been able to get up underneath the car to put the oil pan gasket in.
Okay, so
or to
that's
check
why.
the rear main.
Right.
I'm starting to think that maybe it was just the oil pan gasket and not the rear main seal.
You don't even
because
know where the leak is?
all that time that I've had that car up on the hill towards the carport,
Oh.
it never leaked a drop of oil.
Right. Oh, so that's why you bought a rear main. Because
And
you
I think
think it
maybe
might
what
be
happened
just the
was
base
the oil
pan.
pan
Okay.
started to come loose.
Oh, it
And
came
the
loose.
gasket is crap. That's
Crap.
on there.
Yeah.
And like I said, those rubber things that go on either end of the
Rubber
oil
things.
pan, I think what happened was they popped out of their proper placements and wound up sliding into the oil pan.
Maybe it's because you
Either that or
put
they
lithium
wound up,
grease on it and they
leaving it
slid.
open for oil to come out. And I think that there may be way too much oil in that oil pan.
How do you...
And there's
Don't you have a
possibility
dipstick, you
that when
retard?
I ran out of regular oil because I
Don't...
didn't want to use the 5 gallons that I'm going to use after I change the oil pan gasket.
Oh, so you're going to put 5 gallons in it? Maybe that's why you got too much oil in the oil pan, you stupid
and it ran
retard.
directly out the back.
Okay.
I think what that is the back of the oil pan, and that's because the car was up on
The more he
jack
tries
stands
to explain
and,
himself,
on
the
car
more he
jacks and
sounds like a
everything else.
fucking retard.
So I think what happened was it ran right out the back.
Okay.
But we'll see. I'll have to take a good look at it.
All this
I gotta
time,
get up
you
underneath
can't find
there.
a
I
leak?
gotta remove the idler arm from the frame.
Okay.
Then I have to drop it down in order to get the oil pan out. So it's going to take a little while for that. And hopefully I can get to the time and chain cover. There's one. They call them bolts, but they're really screws. They're not pointed screws, but they're flat screws because they have a flathead screwdriver end on them, and the valve covers have Phillips heads, so they're technically not bolts.
Okay, glad you explained that to everyone.
So hopefully, after
Well, quite
all
frankly, I've never seen a time and chain cover with
that, then I'll be
screws.
able to start working on the
I've
inside.
never had to put a screwdriver to
And,
one. Always a
I'm not
wrench.
going to say anything because it may take a while for this to get, to the point where it's running.
It'll
But
take a while. Okay.
ultimately, I will get the car running.
Hopefully. Okay.
It's just a matter of me having time. I have another month off again because I'm still not healthy enough to return back to work. I'm still having water retention in my right leg where my foot.
Please don't
goes
show
right
your fat
and
leg
it
again.
Swells up, still bigger than my left leg. So
Please don't show that fat hoof again.
I'm on a bunch of prescriptions for that. I got to have blood work done
Okay.
in order to make sure
Thought about maybe getting a brain scan?
something isn't wrong there, and we'll see.
Everybody needs to know this.
I got a lot of things on my plate.
Okay.
Between trying to make sure that my job is still there when I'm ready to go back.
When he's concerned about
I'm
a
trying
belly
to
that
clean
don't
out
run.
my house because I'm getting ready to move out of here.
Oh, okay.
Try and find something else in the meantime. So I got to do this all in the same,
Maybe you can get a tent and squat in someone's backyard.
which will be like another month or two.
Okay. Come on, we need to know this.
And that'll pretty much do it. I'm sitting on about close to $5,000, so it's a good start to get something. Maybe not a down payment on a house, but
Oh, yeah, you can't afford that one, and you're going to buy another house?
about 30, 40,000, so I should be able to put a good down payment.
You should be able to
on
get 30 or 40,000. It'll take 30 or 40,000 to clean up that fucking dump you created.
$55,000.
To bring in a bulldozer and knock it down and
It's a
clear the
really
land.
nice place, so
Yeah, he's going to buy a condo.
I just hope there's not those HOA people, because I've seen things on
HOA wouldn't allow you
they're
on their
really
fucking street.
annoying.
You're a pig.
They invade your privacy, and that's not the kind of people I want to deal with.
Trust me, nobody's going to want to invade
But
your
anyway,
privacy. They want to stay the
in
fuck
any
away
aspect
from you.
With the 57 Chevy, the front's been taken apart. I took the turn signal bar off because I got to get new.
Here he goes. A guy that doesn't know where he's going to live. He's going to sell his house. I'm going to pause this for a second.
Find something that's as close.
I'm going to pause this for a second. He said something that reminded me. I know someone that had their house foreclosed on. And what banks will do, in this case, they did it. That's why when he said $5,000, and $5,000 also relates to something else. With people that need to get renters evicted. I know, me and my brother had to evict someone from one of our 6 rental properties several years back. Real deadbeat, hadn't paid his rent in 9 months. We had to take him to renters court here at 3rd District Court. And what happens is, well, in this case, the guy was black. He was claiming racism, I don't care whether you're black, white, green, purple, you pay a fucking rent, And they gave him time. In the meantime, now a year and a half goes by. This motherfucker hasn't paid a dime in rent. Now I want him out. So now I had to get a forcible eviction. Then the court says, well, he says, check this out. Well, how can I move? I need first, last, and security to get a new apartment. And in court, I says, you haven't paid me rent, and me and my brother rent in over a year and a half. You should have some money. What have you been doing with it? But the court said, well, I'll tell you what. You want him out? It's called cash for keys. We had to give that motherfucker $5,000 to go there with a constable, get him out. They put all his shit out on the fucking sidewalk. Once everything was out, I was handed the keys, and I had a locksmith change the keys just in case he had duplicates made. Then I had to hand him a check for $5,000 to get that motherfucker out. With this foreclosure from a guy I knew years back, the bank wanted him out. Oh, I can't go. I can't. Same story. Where am I going to go? I got no money to get a place. They said, well, in order to get him out, the mortgage company gave him $5,000 to get his ass out of there. So for some reason, that $5,000 you just mentioned kind of rang a little bell with me.
To what's originally in there, and then, find some bulbs to fit it, and then hook them up to the power source. Okay. And I still have to fix the horn, too. The horn,
the horn's important. You don't need a horn. You'll never be on a road where you're going to blow it to get some old lady in a wheelchair out of your way when you're running a red light.
And I have the relay box,
okay,
which actually goes underneath the hood on fire.
Oh, he knows about electronics now.
Up against the radiator behind the horns.
You got to clear out all that shit in front of the radiator to get at it.
The plexiglass windows are in for now until I can find some regular window panes.
Okay.
So they're not going to stay there permanently. They're just going to be there for now to keep the water out. I've also sealed up the windshield because for the longest time there was water getting in the car.
Right, and that rot's all in between the pillars.
So hopefully it'll stay that way.
Hey, a mouth fart.
Yeah, other than that, the wheel wells, the metal's got to be cut out.
You believe this shit? Here's a guy that's talking about how he doesn't know where he's going to live. He's got a world of hurt with his health, his finances, and he's still concerned about that piece of shit 57 that's never going to run.
Copper tips or whatever.
We'll never see the road.
I think the one that's on there is pretty yucked up, and it's not really doing the job that it should be doing.
You ain't doing what you should be doing either, pal.
I have the new grill, so taking the turn signal bar off.
You're going to need that. Yeah, when that car's out on the road, when you're making a turn, you need those turn signals.
That's on there is all damaged anyway, so.
Like everything else is damaged.
And the bumper that's in front of the car, well, the bolts and everything are pretty much rotted on there, so I have to go and buy
no
one
kidding.
of those torches.
Like the frame rails.
Loosens up things.
And the floor panels.
We'll see what that does. And same thing with the hood latch. I managed to get 2 of the bolts out, but I can't get the third one out because the square bolt underneath is not attached anymore to the area that it was welded to.
Right, 'cause it's rotted out.
Loose. So when I turn the 1/2-inch end of the bolt on the outside and I try and brace the inside, it just spins. So it's not something I can get a socket on either because, like I said, it's a square bolt or a square nut, and there's not enough room in there to get a socket.
Here's a guy that can't put brakes
in there, in order to go over the top of it.
He's going to fix all these things.
Problem. It's a matter of having enough to get a tool in there and being able to take the tool up top. So, that's the end of that. I have foam out there in the car right now, which I'm going to use for the seats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip all the old material off of it.
Here's this fucking
And I'm gonna
retard in
put
a
the foam
world of
down.
hurt, according to him, coming
And I'm
from
going to
his
cut
own
it.
mouth with all his
And then I'm
problems,
going to put the fabric over the top of
financial,
it, stitch it
health,
to
and he can't
um,
stop talking about how he's going to fix that
excuse me,
Bel Air and all the fucking
50
shit it
top
needs.
rings for the most part. And I think what they do is with the back part of the seat, they actually use the fabric going down, and it's just stitched to the sides. So we'll see what happens. Takes time. Everything takes time. Nothing is,
Right.
overnight. And like I said, I'm not these young spring chickens,
Right, you're
running
54
around
years old.
restoring cars every day of the week or have money to go and do that. So unlike them, I live on a budget. I'm not the golden goose that crapped out the golden egg. So I work with what I have. And that's
What you
about
have
the
is
size of it,
junk.
folks. Like and subscribe.
Like and
See you in the next
subscribe.
one. Bye.
Okay. Know what I like? See, like with Sanford, those of you that know me have said, he does all the work for me. He himself proves everything I say. Jabba, same way, does all the work for me. Once again, he did. This shows you his state of mind, his way to get attention, a little bit of sympathy. He's got problems, a lot on his plate. He's still fixated with a 57 that will never amount to shit. If anything, he's made it worse all the way down the line. Tries to justify himself with why he says certain things because this guy said it or that guy said it. So if I did or said something wrong, it's their fault because I listened to them. Catch my drift here, people? Explaining why it won't start. He thinks the points might be too wide. Well, then again, he didn't know how to put a distributor in, so it wouldn't surprise me if those points are not set correct. What else was it? Oh, he has to recheck the leaks because he thinks it might not be the rear main seal. After all, it might just be the base pan gasket. So if you're not sure if it's the rear main seal, why do you go out and buy a rear main seal? That makes sense to you? Then he's saying, well, another thing is it could be leaking because he has too much oil in the oil pan. I think there's something called a dipstick. You fucking dipstick. Where you insert it, you let it set for a second, you pull it out, and you take a reading on it. And you can see whether you're low on oil or whether you have too much oil. Then he says, well, I have 5 gallons of oil here that I'm planning on using after I put the rear main seal in. 5 gallons of oil? Why the fuck do you need 5 gallons of oil? Takes 4 quarts. That's a gallon. What the fuck you need? Maybe he does have too much oil in there because the first time he did it, he dumped 5 fucking gallons of oil in it. And then he mixes in gear oil with it. Some things I hear, and even though it may not be related on the surface, there are things that you can think about that happens to people, especially when it comes to property. Like I said, me and my brother went through fucking hell to get that guy and his girlfriend out. They cried racism. They played every fucking race card they could in fucking renters court at 3rd District Court. They lived there for a year and a half without paying us a dime of fucking rent. And if we hadn't given them the $5,000 to get the fuck out, they would have kept squatting there. We would have had to keep dragging them through court. And besides the $5,000 me and my brother had to give him, it cost us $4,500 for a fucking lawyer on top of it. But he got his first and last in security to go find another apartment. You know what the funny part is? I found out about a year and a half later, he suckered some guy that, like when we rent, we do background checks. We want to know who they rented from before. We want to speak to the landlord, find out what kind of renter they were. If they paid their rent on time, if they caused problems, if they were bringing drugs in, violence, having wild parties. We looked into our renters, and we did with this guy, and he checked out fine. What the fuck happened? I don't know. Maybe he started smoking crack. But anyway, a lot of them don't bother checking. And he got a place and he pulled the same shit on someone else. 9 months goes by, No rent. The guy pretty much went through the same thing that we did and had to give in $5,000 to get the fuck out again. There's a term for that. They're called professional renters. They rent and don't pay and then move on. Rent and don't pay. And every time they have to leave, they get $5,000 in their fucking pocket. You know what I mean? When you listen to everything this guy just fucking said, obviously he has no fucking priorities in life. Obviously, once again, he does not know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to cars. I mean, can't you tell where a leak is coming from? Lay a piece of fucking cardboard under it overnight and then pull it out in the morning. You'll see if it's coming from the back or from the base pan or from a timing chain cover. So easy to find a leak like it's so easy to find. Actually, wasn't the whole thing started with, oh, it's only a vacuum leak? Yeah, we see where this is going, right? The more he fucks with it, the worse it's got, and now it's at a point where... Anyway. So, my voice is a little better. I saved it yesterday. I saved some people here some grief and misery of having to listen to me, and catch up with you for a happy Monday video. But once again, watch this. See for yourself. Hear for yourself if this guy is fucking retarded.